Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another segment of the AD Think Tank on the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with this week's Think Tank guest, but as always, we're going to give our sponsors a shout out. So stay with us. These are all great companies. Uh, I want you to check these companies out. So listen to our shout outs. It's only going to take about 3 minutes. Then listen to our Think Tank guest. Then go and visit these sponsors. You're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to K-12 Sports Tech for sponsoring the Think Tank and remind you that K-12 Sports Tech helps connect athletic directors and vendors through education and consulting. You are also encouraged to join the AD Think Tank and help influence how companies shape their tech to better serve schools. To get started, just go to k12sportstech.com. That's it, k12sportstech.com. We also want to thank our good friends at Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. It's used and trusted by over 20,000 schools and colleges, and their staff is going to have you creating world-class content in seconds. Maybe it's a social media post to celebrate a win. It can be an entire newsletter to let everybody in your community know all the great things you're doing. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to get started. Don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Athletic directors already get feedback, but a lot of times it's from a very small group that just wants to gripe. Athletic Surveys is going to connect you to that group so you can hear their concerns, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% of your stakeholders that support your program. And that information is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. athleticsurveys.com. We also want to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results, and even if you have a platform through your state association that requires you use that, Home Campus's athletic clearance and eligibility platform alone is worth the price. Go to homecampus.com to get started. That's it, homecampus.com. We want to thank our good friends at Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards or show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's also a great way to share your school's unique history and brag a little bit about your proudest moments. It's vitalsignswalloffame.com. Once again, don't forget to mention the podcast. We want to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program, and it was great. It's very reasonable, just 20 months totally online. And you not only earn your master's, you also complete 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. The Ohio University Online Masters. Check it out today. We also want to thank our friends at Hometown Ticketing. Hometown is changing the game for schools and organizations with their suite of solutions for digital ticketing, fee-free fundraising, and athletic websites. Whether you're an athletic director, a coach, or a school administrator, Hometown makes it easy for schools to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. Learn more at hometown.com. That's hometown.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap Raise. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. It's snapraise.com. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, all of our coaches, just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there's so much more. Join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. You'll find it all at huddle.com. And we'd like to thank Sideline Interactive. indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a demo of all their great products. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com today. Don't forget to mention the podcast. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another segment that we're calling the AD Think Tank on the Educational AD Podcast. We've got a great guest today. Longtime listeners of the podcast will recognize this name, Rob Seymour. Rob's a certified master athletic administrator. He's a longtime athletic director in Indiana, and he's the AD at Fishers High School. Very active at the state level, active at the national level. And I'm just very excited that he's going to be part of our AD Think Tank. So, Rob, welcome back to the podcast. And what do you got for our listeners?
Jake, I want to start off by thanking you for everything you do for our profession, and the content that you and your show bring to our profession. So it's awesome, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. So today, what I want to start off with and kind of cover through is just the stages of a career of an athletic administrator. I run every day, and I find myself talking with the guy I run with, and we just talk about stages of our careers and our lives. And I started thinking about how the stages of an athletic administrator, how it works. We've talked a lot about in our profession about, attaining new talent and then also retaining new talent. And I think as I process through these stages in my own mind, I think it would help our new athletic directors to have some perspective on this, and also help our veteran athletic administrators. So I'm going to kind of rip through some different stages that I feel that are important and will help hopefully the longevity of individuals within our profession. So the first stage that I kind of came up with was just master the moment. And, this is kind of for an AD, it's like 3 years in, 1 to 3. And they might see a lot of things out there. They might see a lot of colleagues doing some great things. They might, we're always talking to our colleagues about, getting credentials and taking LTC classes. And those are going to be a piece of this. But the first thing in the stage 1 is just to master the moment you're in. Don't compare yourself to others. Just try to excel at the daily operations, the basics of being an athletic administrator. It can be a lot of chaos, and I've kind of coined these some of my presentations as chaos to clarity. So I'm kind of hoping that's what we offer here today. But again, going back to stage 1, master the moment. You got to take care of contracts. You got to take care of how to work with officials. Transportation. There's a lot of basics that just have to be checked off on a daily basis with our job. And in your first couple of years, you just want to work through systems to really know that you're not missing anything. You're building those base skills in those first few years. What I would encourage you to do is to evaluate your systems and develop efficient methods of handling your scheduling, your budgeting, the expectations of your coaches, expectations of your players. But just look for that efficiency with everything you do. Always try to be better tomorrow than you are today type of mentality. And then embrace learning, ask questions, look for mentors that you can make yourself better again at building these base level skills. So the big takeaway from stage 1 would be just to, again, be great at the basics. Okay. If you can just really be a top performer in the basics of this job, you're going to have more enjoyment out of it. And with more enjoyment, we hope to get to longevity. The other thing too, I would encourage you to do is just to make phone calls. Everybody likes to type an email. Everybody likes to have that quick communication. In your first 3 years, don't do that. Make phone calls. Find ADs. If you have a question from someone, call them. Create those networks, strengthen those basic skills. So again, that's stage 1. Stage 2 that I have is to now you want to start growing your skills more so, and reaching out and looking at different ways, different professional development opportunities that exist in education-based athletics. We are blessed to have an LTC program offered, with 50 plus courses through the NIAAA, and there's no profession like it. You can take classes at your state conference. You can take classes at the national conference. You can take a webinar every fall, every spring. You can take online classes. There's no, there's no end to what you can do to grow yourself professionally through the LTC coursework. And I would strongly encourage you, again, going back, this is going to be kind of a transitioning from like year 3 into a little bit, maybe year 5 or so. And when you're really, you're still pretty new to this job, but just get those credentials. Look to get that RAA that you can after year 2 or year 3, and then try to get to that CAA and just up your skills, level up your credentials. It offers so much confidence for you. And so this is like, I think, the stage 2 of your profession. Now, this isn't hard. These aren't hard numbers. You might be in complete year 2 and you're ready to go to stage 2 in year 3. That might be. Many of us, another piece that we have to think through is, what is your background coming into this profession? If you're transitioning straight from teacher, coach to administrator, this is going to be a little bit slower development through these stages. If you are transitioning from teacher to coach many years ago, and you've been an administrator in your corporation, and now you're going into athletic administration, your growth is going to be a little bit more fast-paced and a little more fast-tracked. So in this stage 2, again, professional development is something that I would strongly encourage you. I'd also just encourage just the continual learning that you can take part of. I mean, there are so many, since COVID, we have so many podcasts and that we can log into and listen to. Educational ADs, obviously one. There's just so many more that have popped up, and you can log on to. And it's not just education-based athletics programs. You can really find value in almost any podcast talking about leadership, and they're so numerous out there in that podcast world. You also have books that you can consume, and then just conferences to go to. There's just so many different things. Just having that learner's mindset, and I would strongly encourage you to really dig deep in this stage 2 to develop those skills. There's also other things that your district are going, your home district's probably going to offer you, like being a safe school coordinator. There's some, you can get credentials there. So there's obviously a lot of things you can do to just level yourself up, increase your value within your community. And again, the big key takeaway here is that the best ADs never stop learning. All right. Again, longevity. And if you could just be that continual lifelong learner, the NIAAA blesses us with the ability to just, follow that path, and they lay it all out there for us. So that's kind of my stage 2. So again, stage 1, master the moment. Stage 2, grow your skill set, which moves us on to stage 3. Now, stage 3 is kind of this one's an interesting one, because you've been working in this stage for a long time, and it is build your network. So again, foster those relationships. And when I talk about relationships in athletic administration, we all know this is the relationship business. So you've got relationships with your colleagues in the athletic administration world. You've got your relationships with the other administrators in your school. You've got relationships with athletic administrators nationwide. So it's just really important, again, to not be that lone man on the island, and just reach out, build those relationships with individual people, and just really strengthen those engaging conversations. Another part of stage 3 is to just engage your stakeholders. Again, we are leaders within our community we're very visual, and take advantage of that. We have the ability to influence, and please, when I use that word, I use it very intentionally. We want to influence things within our community. We want education. We want to define what education-based athletics means within our community. We don't want it to be defined by people that are more tied to a AAU or a club mentality. That's not us. So we have to be engaged with our stakeholders, have a very active voice with your booster clubs, and just let them know that you want to help them be successful. We all want the same thing. We all want the best for our kids. We all want the best for our community. But sometimes the lens of which we look through can be a little bit different. And so we want to help guide them and influence the lens that which they look at education-based athletics. And one thing I've always tried to early on in my career as an athletic administrator, I kind of came up with a philosophy. And my philosophy is I want to make their wishes a yes, but I got to do it with consistency across all of my programs. They are only worried about one program. Many of them are only worried about one kid, but we have to worry about much more than that. So if they come to you with an idea that they want to do for senior night, great. Try to make their idea a yes, but it has to be consistent with your philosophy, consistent with your programming, what you're holding other programs, accountable for. And so again, just engage those stakeholders, take advantage of being able to influence them and what education-based athletics can mean in your community. The next piece of build your network is to share ideas and strategies. We have the ability to be mentors to new ADs. So now in stage 3, we're going to see a lot of new faces in our profession. We have a lot of turnover. And so it's our job to reach out to those individuals and start pulling them under our wing, offering them some companionship, offering them support. And again, it's going to go both ways because especially as we get older into our stages of career, there's younger kids coming underneath us, and they're going to have different skill sets, and they're going to have a lot to offer as well. But again, we have the ability to really offer a perspective for them. Again, especially if we're looking at this with a education-based athletics perspective. And then last thing of your network, building your network is just shape the vision, right? Like you've got to have an idea of what you want your long-term impact to be within your community. And that is your vision. What do you want it to look like? And you may not be able to make changes immediately. The climb might be very stagnant at times. And then sometimes it's going to be straight up to the top. And you just have to really, I think I always have a visual in my head of what's my trajectory? Is my trajectory moving in the right direction? Or have I dipped below and now I'm moving in the wrong direction? So I think that really helps me have a visual and do things that have the ability to impact my trajectory of my department, of me professionally, of my colleagues. So again, that's I feel like that's the stage 3 of a career in an athletic administrator is to build that network. Stage 4, increase your influence. This is get involved, right? As a state association president in my second year, I'm trying to reach out to new ADs. I want to try to get them involved, but I have many in the state that are also reaching out, and it's awesome to see that. You can get involved at your state level. You can get involved at the NIAAA level. If you're going to go to the NIAAA conference for your first time, or maybe it's your third or fourth time, but if you haven't gone to the Get Involved workshop, I would strongly encourage you to do that. They're always looking for, facilitators. Very entry level thing, right? Hey, I just want to be a facilitator. You're showing that you have the desire to be a leader, be in a leadership position. And then you could look at being a presenter or being an LTC instructor at the NIAAA or being on a committee. But that's, now you're just going to start increasing your influence within the profession. And again, join committees inside your state association, like for the Indiana High School Athletic Association here in Indiana, or the IIAAA, which is our Athletic Directors Association. Or you could look at, again, joining committees at the national level. So these are just different ways that we can start increasing that influence and just, again, seek leadership positions within the organizations and the professional events that we have at our disposal. And then the last thing is, in this increase this influence, is just keep advocating for the importance of student athletic participation and the profession of athletic administration. This profession, I feel like I've always had like a shelf life in my educational, my 31 years. I had a shelf life as a teacher. I had a shelf life as a dean of students. This job, I don't have a shelf life because I keep getting gas to fuel the tank from colleagues and just the kids that you're surrounded with on a daily basis and what they're trying to do. But again, just be that advocate for that. So that's stage 4. And then moving on to stage 5, which I feel is the something I always try to think through. And this is like this, basically you want to sustain passion and proficiency. So there's a quadrant, and I've been trying to find where I came across this quadrant. I really have, I cannot can't put my finger on it, but it's the passionate versus proficient, right? And so like, and these are kind of out of order. I need to redo my slide here, but in quadrant one, you're passionate, but you're not proficient. So you're new to the job, right? And then you move into quadrant two, and so you're passionate and proficient. And this is where you really want to stay. You want to live in a passionate and proficient stage of your career. If you then stay, then the next thing that kind of comes up through time would be quadrant three. And now you're proficient, but you might be losing a little bit of passion. And so you might have to be very strategic and intentional about how you go about getting that passion back. And I do believe every athletic director goes through this quadrant three. No matter how effective you are, no matter how veterans you are, there's going to be times where you just kind of get beat up a little bit and your passion dips a little bit. So that's where you really have to make it, again, an intentional effort. Quadrant four, you don't have the passion and you no longer have the proficiency. We really just don't want to be in this quadrant at all. So again, strategies to stay in quadrant two, which is where we really want to live, is again continuously trying to learn, adapt to changes that our profession are faced with. Since COVID, we've had a lot of changes that digital ticketing, many more digital platforms that we've been using. So you got to be able to adapt to those types of things. Seek new challenges and projects that you might have a long-term vision for that really keep keep your engine fired. And then just to maintain some balance. We are athletic administrators, and sometimes we might define ourselves with this, but really we've got to make sure that we have other interests outside of this. And like that's my daily run, right? I get out there and run. I can get away. I can burn off a little energy. I do think about the job a lot when I'm out there, but that's one way I probably define myself almost equally, or as to being an athletic administrator, and then just time with your family. So those are kind of stages. So just go through the conclusion again of stages of a career, and what we want to look for is just reflect, set goals, keep your ongoing journey, and again just to recap through the master the moment. That's the first couple of years, and then grow your skill set, build your network. Increase your influence, and then just try to sustain your passion and your proficiency within your athletic administration. So that's all I got, Jake.
Wow. You probably saw me scribbling notes down throughout that presentation. Great stuff. But that might even be the outline of a book down the road. You should think about putting this in a book. Um, Rob, so many things I want to talk about. We don't have a lot of time. We are, of course, going to have you back for your next segments. But one thing, for that new AD that might be listening, and again, listeners, that was a master class on the stages of being an AD, and hopefully, like I was, and like Rob is, that you're in it for the long haul, because those early years are often the most challenging. Those, whether it's the first two, three, five, et cetera. There's an expression I heard recently, and I just love it. And like any good AD, I'm going to steal it. Um, it encourages ADs and leaders to filter out the noise. So often there's noise, and you're trying to hire coaches, you're trying to schedule games, you're trying to put that game day experience together. And noise is not just, I'm not just talking about parents or critiquers, but just things that can distract you from doing what you're supposed to do, service kids, service coaches. What's something, and you've already shared a couple, but I'm going to ask you to do a laser focus. What are some things that you use to filter out the noise and allow you to excel at your job?
I think the number one thing I use to filter out the noise would be my transformative purpose. As an inside out coaching school, I spent a lot of time truly drilling down what my transformative purpose was. And now that's the lens of what I look through. I basically try to interact with everyone through that lens. I was very blessed. So I was listening to a Simon Sinek podcast, and he basically said your purpose has to come from something that was, very prevalent in your youth, your younger years. And I'm like, because I was struggling to find my transformative purpose. I mean, I just didn't want some phrase that didn't really have a lot of meaning for me. And when I heard that, I'm like, it was like a light bulb. Because growing up, I had I had caring, supportive relationships in my community. And so I'm like, you know what? That's my purpose. I want to lead to create caring and supportive relationships that honor community and inspire competitive grit. And so now that's the lens that I look through when I'm dealing with all the different things, the chaos in this job. And there's the times that you may not want to deal with a certain situation, but kind of going along with that E plus R equals O of the focus three thing, like how I respond is their event, right? And so I've got to make sure that I am quality and I'm caring and supporting everybody that I have to interact with to the best of my ability. Not always perfect, but you want to live there more times than not. So I think that's a big that keeps me grounded in my profession, and as being a leader is just knowing my purpose.
Great stuff. And again, there's another resource for listeners, the Inside Out Coaching Initiative. Just check it out. And it's, I can tell you, Rob will tell you too, it's something that you will definitely want to bring to your school. Rob, again, tremendous resource. Appreciate you spending time with our listeners. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out to you and pick your brain a little bit or just add you to their network, we talk about building that network. What's the best way that our listeners can get a hold of Rob Seymour?
Yeah, so my email would be a really effective way, and that's Seymour at hse.k12.in.us. I'm on Twitter, X, whatever, and that's Rob Seymour 71. I've obviously developed a lot of friendships and followers and people that I follow through there. And then my cell phone is 317-407-9372. But again, I please just understand that if you reach out, we're going to collaborate. It's not going to be a one-way conversation. I'm going to take from you and you're going to take from me, hopefully.
No, as it should be. And again, for our NIAAA members, Rob's information is on the NIAAA membership portal as well. Rob, thanks as always. I know it's a busy time of year, but we appreciate you sharing your heart and your wisdom with our listeners. And all the best as we move forward in 2025.
Thank you, Jake.
For our listeners, we want to say thanks to you. And just a reminder, we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this segment just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of education-based athletics. So hopefully you'll come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. Before we go, just one more time, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. We want to thank Gipper, Huddle, the Ohio University Online Masters, Home Campus. I want to thank Sideline Interactive and Hometown Ticketing, Snap Race, Athletic Surveys, Vital Signs Wall of Fame, and of course, K-12 Sports Tech. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time on the AD Think Tank on the Educational AD Podcast.